Alright guys, Tetchgrubber here back again today, and the Mutineers have finally confirmed their roster for the upcoming CDL season. We had everything else confirmed several weeks ago now, but the Mutineers, for some reason there was a wait. We heard about why this might be. I don't know if it was contractual or exactly what it was, but it's now the 3rd of December. They've finally been confirmed. The team is Pristini, Frosty, Skies, Havoc and Morks, as we have known for a long time. Coach Achura, very interesting team on the whole, to be honest. Wanted to go through today the individuals on the squad, how they might coalesce together, why they could be a dark horse for the upcoming season, given a number of reasons really. Of course, the players on the team obviously contribute to being a dark horse, but also the way the whole league is structured means that underdog teams could potentially have more of a chance. So yeah, wanted to get into that today. Like if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always. Greatly appreciate any thoughts in the comments section below. And yeah, firstly, wanted to share with you guys the video, of course, that they did the announcement for. I mean, here it is with the video. It makes it kind of funny. I don't know, like, especially given the announcement has waited this long to be announced. I was hoping for something a little bit better than this. I don't know. You know, your thoughts below. It's a funny video, really. Pristini doing some mental moves at the start of the video, and then you've got the quotes coming up on screen as well. And, you know, the quotes are okay. It's just a little bit cringeworthy, right? I was hoping for something like a little bit more like, I mean, the OpTic Gaming LA announcement I still think was the best when that was a great announcement if you guys remember that one. The Chicago one, a lot of people remember as well. There was also the Minnesota one, the first one they did for like silly assaults and God RX, which was really well done. Which is actually like seeing them in the flesh rather than just kind of in a studio, right? With all the camera angles. It's a funny video. Whatever. Let's talk about the team then. So, interesting squad. Pristini firstly separated from his brother for the first time that we have seen in a long time. Of course, RCT's on that Chicago Huntsmen team alongside Scump, Formal, Envoy, and Gunless. It's a very weird team in a way. Pristini was talking about for a long time that he hadn't even been able to pick up for a squad. We talked about in videos that, you know, being a world champion, a reigning world champion, had been turned down a lot of the time. And then he said a couple of weeks later he managed to find a squad of like underdogs that he's ready to go forward with. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much what this is. So Pristini, I think, is honestly a pretty damn good pick. He's a reigning world champion. That's for a reason. We'll have a look at some of his results in a second here as kind of that secondary SMG in a way. I imagine the way the roles are going to work on this team is Frosty is kind of, he can do it all probably. Mainly he was an assault rifle last season, which kind of is an interesting setup for this team in terms of the roles, right? Because we've got Skies and Morks who are kind of going to compete for the main AR. I imagine Morks is the slower player, so he's probably going to be the main assault rifle on this team. Skies is going to be the slightly faster support AR for him. And then Frosty is probably going to be a flex on the squad, but he definitely can use an M4 if needed. The meta right now in the game is quite interesting. The MP5 is dominant. We have 12 Hz servers, so the MP5 can get even stronger at times, but the M4 is obviously, those are the two weapons that are used right now, and on certain maps you can easily get away with 3 M4s, which makes this team's roles situation really quite interesting when you look at a lot of the other teams, depending on how the meta is going to be come January the 24th when the season kicks off. Who really knows exactly what we're going to be looking at in terms of the meta then, but this team is quite well done because you've got two guys which are pretty much going to be ARs in Skies and Morgs. They were really damn good over the last season. They got very far in tournaments. They were pretty underrated at times. I thought that Skies, after his spell on, I think, Elevate, really came to life when he was on Luminosity. He had some fantastic plays, fantastic clutches, but yeah, we haven't really seen that from him in previous seasons, which of course is the worry, right, with some of these guys that, you know, okay, a few of these guys we can be certain are going to be solid players. The likes of Brustini, he's been a good support player for many a year. Frosty, of course, got better and better at the end of last season. He was, of course, a Halo World Champion back in the day as well. Havoc, we've seen him play for a very long time. Can be relatively confident that he'll be at least a solid player, but he's always tended to be better on the Black Ops games, in my opinion, rather than the Infinity War ones, but we'll just have to see how it goes this season. And Morgs and Skies haven't really been around so long to say, but they have been good in the last season. They made it deep in tournaments, as I say. Morgs was unlucky not to win one, really, given how good that Gen G team was last season as well. So these are probably going to be your two main assault rifles. Then you've got Frosty in a middle ground on the team. He can run an AR. He can probably run an SMG if needed. Probably would prefer it on the AR, though. So maybe this team is slightly stacked in terms of the slower kind of playstyles. I guess Frosty can kind of do what he wants, but Brustini and Havoc are really, really fast-paced players, and Skies, I think, is a really good fast-paced assault rifle as well. So I kind of like the mix of the depth and breadth of talent on this team in the roles and the playstyles. I think Ogre2's done a pretty good job in putting these guys together. So Ogre2, of course, is the general manager on this team. It's very understandable why Frosty has made it into this squad as well. Yeah, so it makes sense in that kind of role. The firepower obviously is the aspect here that we have to look at because, you know, where's your main firepower coming from your SMG line? You know, Pristini's not going to be putting up crazy numbers. In previous seasons, he's, as I say, he's been a great support player. There's a reason he won the World Championship, but part of that reason is because he had Simp on his team and Abizi and Arcetes and these incredible players. Also, Clayster as well was really good at the World Championship, and Pristini may, you know, not have had the best stats, but of course was a very crucial role on that team in terms of winning. But you could maybe swap Pristini out for other players, and with Simp, Abizi and Arcetes on your team, you're gonna win championships potentially, right? So it's understandable why he didn't get picked up with one of the best squads in the world, but still, I think this is a pretty damn good pick. It's just that as your second SMG, I'd really prefer someone to have a lot of firepower in the team, and I'm not sure Havoc really fills that role guaranteed for me. I do think Ricky Achura as coach is a good pick. He had some good results over the last season, seems to be competent in that role as well. So I like that as a pick. I like the Frosty pick 100%. I think Frosty's a fantastic player to be able to pick up. Yeah, he was just better and better throughout the latter half of last season. I think he'll continue to be better with multiple FPS, just God, really. Similar to what we've seen other players do coming over from Halo. And the Skies and Morgs assault rifles, I think, are very good, underrated as well. It's just the SMG line, which I'm not sure about. I think also Search and Destroy, I'm not sure this team has really got the S&D stars in a way that we've seen on kind of other teams. So definitely, potentially a dark horse. I'm not sure it's, you know, it's kind of where you'd expect it, right? Maybe middle, slightly middle, lower of the pack. Definitely think they have underdog potential, though, especially when we consider how the league is set out this season. We've got a few weekend events. All you really have to do at every weekend event is make an upset, maybe win a series that you might be expected to win against a Paris or something like that. I guess you'd be expected to win that series, and if you do, then all of a sudden you're doing quite well in the league standings, and every single match that you have at one of these weekend events isn't super important in a way because it's kind of a land scrims or whatever you want to say, because there's only 5 events in a weekend or 5 matches in a weekend. They contribute to the overall league, and if you get deep enough, then you're going to qualify for the playoffs at probably the mid-season and the end of season, and there's only really two tournaments there, and you know, if you get a couple of upset wins, then you're going to have a really good run in some of these tournaments depending on how they're organized. So yeah, I definitely think there's underdog potential. I'm just questioning the SMG line right now, and it really comes down to Pristini and Havoc, whether Pristini can put on some more slaying than he has done in the past, because he hasn't really needed to, which is very fair enough. So I thought I'd bring this up. These are the results for the last season for Pristini. Of course, winning the World League Championship and the playoffs. Didn't have the best results before that, but of course, United have been a competitive team for a long time. Infinite Warfare, they won that event as well. Was it Dallas or Atlanta? I don't know why I'm forgetting. But anyway, he's obviously done it all, but he's definitely been overshadowed. So this really is a proving time for Pristini to see if he actually can do it with different teammates and have good results and put on a level of slaying which we sometimes see out of him in play, but it just wasn't needed on a team like this. And that's obviously why he wasn't rated so highly coming into the season and didn't get the incredible spot that these guys did on the teams that they got offered into. And of course, these guys have gone to arguably better teams. BZ and Simp on Atlanta, Clayster of course in Dallas Empire, and in RC's on the Chicago Huntsmen. Better teams than what Pristini has landed on, but I'm sure there's a fire in him. He's a very motivated player, gets motivated by a lot of stuff like this. Frosty of course ended the season on Midnight, which was kind of unfortunate for him, but Enigma 6, he did have some good results throughout the season on a squad that you wouldn't expect to do so well. 5th, 6th at Fort Worth, 5th, 6th at Anaheim as well, which is just good placings. I think, someone said in the Reddit comments, really, Enigma 6, this, Florida Mutineers team owned by Misfits is like the Enigma 6 of last season in a way. You're looking at a team which is underrated. You're not going to really expect them to win an event or anything, but they could have a deep run, which is what the Enigma 6 is every season they managed to do. At least a couple of times. They even came top 4 at Champs, but Frosty wasn't on that team at the time. He went over to the Midnight Esports team, and it really didn't work out so well for him there, but he still was playing relatively well as well. Then we've got Skies' tournaments, of course, had a pretty big come up. Yes, they didn't have the best results towards the end of the season, but he played really well on this Elevate team, got offered onto Luminosity, of course, really showed his progression. He did actually play with Havoc as well back in the day, in the World War II days of Gone Gaming, so maybe that starts some of their relationship there. Havoc's tournament results, he's played for a long time. You guys may remember the World League Championship 2017, where he was like using throwing knives and stuff. Really didn't represent well his his motivation and these kind of things. The past season, of course, on Gen G alongside Morks, he's done really well. He was a great player in the Black Ops 4 season, there's no doubt about that, but again, kind of overshadowed maybe by Maniac and Envoy at times. Another proving ground for him, and the likes of Havoc and Frostini playing together, that's really where the question mark comes for me, because I think Morks will be a pretty damn good player. Again, these are Morks' results, so you kind of see similar things, and World War II wasn't so pretty, but, I still think he's a pretty solid player overall. We've kind of talked about Morks as, like, the underrated guy for a very long time now, so, he did have good results last season, so maybe it's time for him to prove that in the franchise stage. Maybe he can do alongside this team. Arturo coached Elevate and then UIU toward the end of the season. Given the team's standings, I think on the whole he did a pretty good job, and what I've heard of what he brought to the team is pretty damn good. And, this team's a dark horse. Morks and Skies was slaying out last year. Frosty's solid. Pristini has a ring. Havoc, when motivated, can make crazy plays in search. Sorry for butchering that. The IGL is, of course, an interesting question. Like, on this team, who is going to be the in-game leader? Because, it's not so clear. Arturo can do it in terms of a coaching standpoint. I'm not sure Frosty is particularly a vocal guy to be an in-game leader. It's a good question. I think Havoc tends to be that kind of figure on the team, but, usually you don't have your in-game leader as kind of an aggressive SMG, because you need it to be an assault rifle who's sitting back and can see the bigger picture and doesn't always have their face full of in gunfights. So that's an interesting question these guys are going to have to solve. Maybe Arturo can help them do that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new as always. Leave all your thoughts down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.